70% in chat says Space Station. 100% of the desk says FaZe. Spaceman and Corelli, let's go.
Corelli, we've been waiting for this one, brother. We were waiting. FaZe and SSG now into game one. This is one of the biggest matchups of the weekend, and for both of us, a high mark, a key factor here. Can Daniel meet the challenge, and can Typical come against his former team and put on a show?
Yeah, it's actually a very interesting thing, because both teams, I think the bar is set very, very high. Obviously, with the Daniel pickup, everyone rates him very highly. When you look at FaZe on paper, they already finished top 4, and they add, I think everyone can agree, a better player with Typical. These teams are expected to be, I think, top of NA at this point. Yeah. And when them facing off here in the groups, it's exciting to see, and we really get a great barometer for who they're going to be in this split.
I mean, the physicality is going to be one of FaZe's strong suits going into this entire series, let alone the weekend as a whole. But you look at what Typical brings to the table for this FaZe roster. Someone who can play in the backline, move through the corners, and be an absolute nuisance as a last defender. The last-ditch effort, and the only one to stop a potential push from SSG, as Daniel will bring this out towards midfield. And now you look for SSG to get comfortable, where we've seen Arsenal try to ditch it out and back to Reddles, but not a lot of passing so far, just individual efforts where Typical will try to clear it away. And with that clear, we look for a reset from SSG and pressure once again into the orange half.
And I think Space Station, we talked about their previous performances so far. They really like that solo effort, but right now, it's just a solo shot coming out from Typical. He'll put the first one away for FaZe.
This is the type of pressure we love to see if you're a FaZe fan, as AJ individually just creates the space. Yeah, first killer there is kind of an insurance policy where he can get physical, but everyone was cleared off the line. And well, when everyone's pushed up for FaZe, you're not going to see many missed opportunities. Already, FaZe getting it on the board first. We're only into game one. It's going to be a long series, a best of 5 on your screens. And if you're looking for someone on SSG to step up, Reddles has been terrific today. Yes, it's only been a couple of series, but what he's been doing upfield and creating opportunities for Daniel, how quickly they've been creating looks for each other to pass the ball upfield.
And Reddles' gameplay has certainly evolved quite a bit on Space Station through the years. It's a great dunk, though, by first killer as it goes high. And he's had a couple of different teammates to really change his play style. Obviously, with Typical on the squad, Reddles was free to move downfield a lot more. And now for Space Station picking up Daniel, who, again, has been spectacular on offense. Space Station, though, finding themselves down 1 goal, are going to have to try and battle back. And right now, it's going to be Typical to put away another one for FaZe.
Well, it's that demo from First Killer. He gets the initial touch and immediately flies off the second, takes out one on the back wall, and Typical has all the real estate to work with. Upper left post, you're not going to miss it. And that's what we talk about with Typical moving into that third man position. He can be so crucial in those moments when everybody else is falling off the play and AJ's out of rotation. You need someone to clean up the dirty work. And once more, it's First Killer off the kickoff, sets it to AJ and blocked away by SSG yet again.
A lot of pressure here from FaZe right out the gates. We're halfway through game 1, and it's really just been all FaZe. And you've got to dispossess players like First Killer and AJ. That's the key to beating FaZe in the midfield and in the offensive third. There's another shot from First Killer. It's top shelf, flick downfield, and it's a 3-0 lead for FaZe.
Yeah, it's going to be a dangerous part for SSG. How do you match some of this midfield pressure from FaZe? When First Killer can pull up from 30, 40 feet out, when he can pull up from his own side of the field, how do you get in position to make that read? Daniel plays at a specific speed that's helped SSG so far today. It's helped this roster adapt, but the cadence will change, and that's what we look for. First Killer again off the kickoff. FaZe wins it back-to-back, and already they have more pressure at the midfield line.
And, a lot of people want Daniel to raise the overall bar at the ceiling, I should say, for Space Station. And right now, this is a great test for them, as Daniel is able to put the first one away for Space Station. A good second touch from Reddles will throw off the defense. It was only AJ there, and he just got fooled by Reddles, and an easy tap-in for Daniel.
And you just see on the left side of the screen, Arsenal quickly rotating for boost, so even if that touch doesn't connect for a point, you're still moving back into position, and that's how you're going to outplay FaZe. You have to out-rotate them and beat them on the secondary touches. Reddles does a nice job, but Typical carries it all the way downfield. It's a diving save for Arsenal, who will try to clear it to the corner, and plenty of boost to get this one back out. Reddles misses the extension, but recovers nicely back on the play. A fly out from Typical, and once more SSG putting pressure into the corner. Daniel hesitantly waiting for his chance to move up on the play.
Some more offense here for Space Station. Now Arsenal's going to put that one away. I thought maybe the defense was going to get a hold of it. And FaZe gets a little bunched up in their box, and a couple of great challenges, a bump from Arsenal, then the backflip to put it away. The chaos ensues, but Arsenal knows how to navigate it. And Space Station right back into this game.
Taking everyone to class. It's a bit of a heroic effort from Arsenal, but
Oh
only
my.
one goal
Oh
apiece,
my.
and Reynolds burns them.
What has happened here to FaZe off the kickoff? Arsenal against First Killer, and he just pushes it out to the left. That's great placement, and the great cheat there, the quick cheat, I should say, from Reynolds to put it home. Space Station have tied it up after going down 3 goals and 1 minute and 37 seconds left.
We give compliments to First Killer on his kickoff prowess, and already SSG are like, yeah, watch that. Hold this controller. Here we go. Tie game, 1 minute 29. So far is not disappointed in game 1. Both these teams at the top of their respective standings, but how long will it last? This series could determine so much for the rest of the weekend as Arsenal gets the clear off the backboard. And Typical looking to maintain his position towards the midfield line. We'll give it right back to AJ on a 1-2 towards the backboard. Daniel with the diving save, but First Killer's ready and waiting, and he'll circle back towards mid with AJ ready on the wing. Arsenal might get the clear out. A 50 win from FaZe. And inside net, it's AJ, but Daniel was ready for the pinch, and he will not be pushed out yet.
Some great work from First Killer in the midfield. Another pass to his teammate. He's done a great job of being in some tough spots, but still getting it out to his team, keeping that possession. That's where FaZe really thrives. Another bump comes out from First Killer off that back wall. Still FaZe fishing, playing around. Look at that pass out to First Killer, that time from AJ, or from Typical, excuse me. Still fruitless here as the defense has picked up from Space Station.
Been a lot of fanfare in this last minute, but with 30 seconds to go, that pinch might open up the door for FaZe. A dangerous save that careens its way down to the adjacent corner, and here comes yet again more pressure from FaZe as they corral that ball back to mid. Arsenal trying to escape, gets a bump on one, but Typical is there to slow this one down. Tries to find First Killer through the corner. 15 seconds to go. Reynolds getting aggressive now. Daniel in the back line. Here comes Daniel. High to the backboard. Arsenal was thinking about a potential push, but instead grabs the corner, sets up yet again. First Killer can't clear. Kept up for SSG.
Here comes Daniel, 0 seconds. The shot from Arsenal's off the post. Doesn't go through. And Space Station that close from stealing the game. They're going to have to do it in overtime.
It's a hell of a comeback in game 1, but of all the ways to do it, it's been a team effort. Typical on target. Typical looking for the second tap. Won't be there. AJ is, but it's saved yet again. Daniel's come up huge for the defensive SSG in game 1.
FaZe have put up 14 shots to the 5 of Space Station. That's what FaZe does when they have the opportunity in the final third. Here comes First Killer, one at the backboard, but denied by Arsenal. This one's just thrown downfield from Reynolds. It'll get under the crossbar, and Space Station have done it. 4 unanswered goals.
He's not the only one to pull up like that. All the way from the back lot, Reynolds just puts it on target. That challenge is what FaZe do quite well, taking a play out of their own book. Corelli, could you have expected this one to go that way?
No, I mean, I'm not surprised to see Space Station win. I'm more surprised to see it in that fashion. 4 unanswered goals is insane for them to come back, especially the caliber team they're playing.
2 goals for Typical, 1 for First Killer on 3 shots. You're shooting 50% for Sip from the field, and AJ had 7, so you're at least getting numbers there. And here are the replays for game 1 at Corelli. It was basically FaZe up until the last minute.
It really was. And FaZe is one of those teams who I feel like sprint downhill. Once they kind of get going, it's very tough to come back against FaZe. And I got to hand it to Space Station. Really got their bearings about them. Hunkered down on defense, definitely raised the level of their defensive work, and then had some great offensive plays to break down FaZe when they were pushed up too far.
Man, they went up 3-0, and I had this whole bit planned. I was going to like pretend to not be here and sit down and be like, wow, what happened? But I'm really glad I didn't do that, because watching Space Station come back, I got to reiterate exactly what Jack said here. Like, I'm not surprised to see Space Station win. Like, we're not dumb people, but like, well, I don't know about you guys, but
some of us are.
I was waiting for it.
But I mean, like, it's in that fashion, like crazy. 3 goals unanswered by FaZe Clan here, and then just Space Station just went right back to the grindstone. I will say, despite the win, I do think FaZe looks a little bit better with their change than Daniel on the Space Station team. Long term, Space Station might win my favor, but at that moment, Spaceman, I'm still, I know they lost, but I'm still seeing FaZe Clan in the clouds.
Yeah, I mean, the poise under pressure was impressive from SSG, but it was that hot start that really sold the first game until FaZe started to collapse. I don't know if that's going to continue in this series. Corelli, I could be completely wrong, usually am, but the kind of collapse in the end from FaZe, it seemed they got overwhelmed by a lot of the pressure and different looks that SSG were throwing them.
Well, it's the same issue that we've always talked about FaZe before the roster change as well. They get bunched up defensively. They have, I don't know if it's bad comms or they all just think they can get to the ball first. And it creates a lot of holes defensively for them. And that last goal, though, was just a great shot downfield when FaZe was just pushed up too far. It wasn't really a defensive issue, but more of just not getting to the ball quick enough, which is shocking to say for FaZe. But here we are in North America. And here we are in game 2 now as FaZe trying to battle back after, what was a pretty good game 1, honestly. Just slipped away from them as Spacestation was able to put up 4.
And with all the chatter we've seen between these teams on Twitter and during the offseason, you're not going to leave a lot on the table when it comes to this opening matchup, because this kind of sets the tone for how you approach the rest of the weekend, given the respective caliber of both teams, the cachet of these rosters. First Killer was looking for the ground pinch to open up this game 2. If you're just joining us, welcome to one of the more interesting series you're probably going to see for the start of this winter split. It's 2 high-powered offenses going head-to-head, and already it was an SSG win in game 1. Kind of stole it in that OT, but nonetheless, FaZe looked quite good, and we'll see if they can continue. AJ with the serve back to Sipical, and Sipical puts it on a dot.
And I talked about it and mentioned it late in game 1, the passing coming out from FaZe. This is perfect from the little give and go downfield, right back to Sipical, across the box, back post against the defense. And it's tough to react no matter how good of a defense you are, no matter how good of a Rocket League team you are. You will not move faster than the ball. And it's great work to find each other downfield. First Killer was doing it earlier. That time was AJ and Sipical combining. So that's just great work from FaZe to find each other and use the space that's given to them by Spacestation.
Spacestation.
Let me pipe in here, Spaceman, real quick. My update is that Torrent is officially knocked out. They've lost to Rogue. But really, I just want to talk about Sipical. Listen, man, he really is that good. I talked about how like a year or 2 ago, people were talking about him just being the best. This is what he looked like, man. Yeah. And so I'm just really happy. Again, Torrent's out, and I'm using that as my excuse to join you guys and say that Sipical is cracked. All right, back to you.
No, he is. And that was one of the conversations, Corelli, that we were talking about with this offseason, where there was never a roster move that was made that had us scratching our heads. It seemed like everyone either got an upgrade or got an additional piece that will play out over time, that will pay dividends as the teams get better. Sipical being one of those, where a lot of people were questioning, how does he fit into the offense? But we're all looking at this as like, FaZe got one of the best, if not the best, free agents on the market, and what he does quietly in the background so the offense can thrive through AJ through First. Sipical is an undeniable talent that was only going to get scooped up by the best team.
Oh, absolutely. There was only a few teams that I think Sipical would want to leave Spacestation for, and certainly FaZe was one of them. And he's been very involved offensively and still finding himself in that third man spot. This time he'll take a shot towards net. Daniel will have to make the save, and he does so. As Spacestation trying to transition out again. Very lackluster in the shooting department. 0 boost here for Daniel, and that one almost squeaks through. Reynolds having to poke it free, and a great pop, but no one there from Spacestation to follow up.
I mean, these extra touches from Reynolds have been crucial, but it's also led way to a potential 1v1 downfield. And if any team's going to win that, you're almost looking at First Killer and AJ to lead that discussion. Arsenal gets a touch to the corner, back to AJ. Again, the 1-2 almost finds the second goal of this game. Arsenal will pop it right toward the back line, but First Killer's there to read it. Now the defense starting to collapse here for FaZe, as they have a bit of boost to burn, but not a lot of resources. AJ dangerously playing with his food here, and back out to Sipical so FaZe can breathe, escape downfield, and Sipical on a breakaway chance gets it blocked yet again.
Yeah, tried to put something together on the dribble. Had options with First Killer, but defender jumping in the way. Minute left here in game 2, a tight one. 1-0. 4 shots for both sides as Spacestation have picked up some of the pressure, but still feels like Spacestation pushed back. Although that really doesn't change much of their play style from before. Now some space here as FaZe isn't able to push out. Dangerous spot, and AJ is able to clear it away for the moment. Still comes back towards the box. Arsenal wanted a piece of it atop the box, and still another shot will go through. Arsenal can again not get a touch. 30 seconds remain, and FaZe with the clear.
I mean, if Arsenal's a little bit further back, that one closes. We have a tie game. And now how do you circle through the midfield? FaZe has been so quick to move up 3 at a time and play this 2-on-3 pressure. No power plays, but Sipical with a slow burn around the side. tried to pull Arsenal and company off the ground. First killer reads that bait and gets it right back down to Daniel. Daniel now going to keep it up from the side wall. You have one push if you're SSG, and it comes down to this one. Stalled out by FaZe. AJ in tandem with first killer. They're going to pinch it downfield. Arsenal there cuts it off. AJ from the ceiling. No boost in a dream. Down to the ground. Daniel pops it to the corner, and Sipical might get this one to touch. It will.
Wow.
FaZe tied up.
And a welcomed, I think, win here for FaZe, considering game one, where it felt like they were mostly in control until Space Station started to just score one after the other here. But a good work here from FaZe again. The passing plays were exactly what you would expect from the caliber of players here, and a good way to break down that defense of Space Station, where I think they were afforded a lot more of the pressure than was given to them by Space Station.
Yeah, and
what an opposite game here. You know, game one just lights out, a shooter's frenzy, and this one is the buyer's market here. Just one goal, nothing else happening. Sipical scored the goal, and just like that, I mean, this is a clean one. I have no idea how the rest of the matchup is going to go. Usually, game two, I maintain, is still the most important, but usually it's more indicative of how the stuff's going to go, Spaceman. This one, I think, is really just, we got two opposite games for 1 and 2, and I really couldn't tell you which direction.
Yeah, I was thinking FDOT was right about the game too, is because that's really where a lot of series start to kind of find their personality, and where you start to figure out, okay, who's on their game, who isn't. And while the cadence has been there and the consistency for FaZe Clan has continued so far in the series, it takes nothing away from what SSG has done on defense. They've done a very nice job of limiting the chances FaZe have had, but it just seems that pressure that was good in the first half of game one continued in the half of game two.
I want to bring up Daniel real quick. This guy, known for offensive prowess, he has pulled out all the stops on defense, which I think is really what his squad needs from him.
Well, it's funny because I think a lot of people pitted him as a defensive player coming into the league, and obviously for Space Station, they're going to need that. Not going to make the save there, though, as first killer, putting away the first goal for FaZe. As simple as you like, he'll take it up into the air on the air dribble, and a flip reset will secure the goal as Daniel can't get back in time.
Sometimes you forget the first killer can just score from anywhere on the field.
He's that good.
Yeah, he's that good. It's one of the reasons that when he made the transition to FaZe, everybody kind of stopped their tracks. It's like, oh God, it's happening. As Daniel, also one of those. Reynolds can't find the redirect. What a way to put on a show for the opening goal for SSG it would have been. But SSG's gone 5 minutes without a goal. They come into game 3 desperately looking for one. A big bump from Sipical as first killer will grab full boost and find his teammate on the wing. Here comes AJ right upfield, up the gut.
Oh,
and there
wow.
it is for FaZe. It's 2-0.
That's beautiful from AJ. And look at the delayed flick. When the space is afforded to him, he will take advantage, and that was too much space. Look at the flip from AJ to get around Daniel, and of course had some help from first killer to chase after him. But that's just world class from AJ to put that one away.
I mean, it's tough enough when you're falling back with the ball in Daniel's position to have to make that read and stop it. But when you have first killer also coming down on top of the car to punch you out of position, it's going to be even more difficult. Already 2 goals for FaZe, and the offense is starting to blossom a little bit more than it did in game 1. Now, the pressure is on SSG's shoulders. Daniel, with a hesitation, falling down, holds his reset. And now comes Arsenal. It's a free goal for SSG, and we've cut the lead in half.
And this shot was all about placement from Arsenal. Daniel does a great job to make the defense think for a second. Reynolds gets a good touch on the ball to keep it alive. But look at the finesse from Arsenal to put that one away softly down to the right side, and an easy tap in, really, at the end of the day for him. Space Station get one back.
Plenty of time. A lot of chances still to be had. AJ in a 1v1. Reynolds nicely gets it away and flips it downfield. So with Reynolds pushed up, you have Arsenal playing back, and Daniel who will get the second call for an attempt. But if this one goes awry, that's where Arsenal needs to fall back in rotation. Luckily, they will get it in time. Reynolds is there to meet the challenge, and FaZe will kind of just flip this one to the corner where SSG can maintain possession. But the vying for midfield pressure has really been FaZe's so far in the series.
Yeah.
Corelli, what are you seeing from SSG that needs to turn around?
I'm so happy that our brains just linked up on that. I was just thinking, you know, FaZe does a great job of just kind of waiting for the opportunity to jump after, because they feel like they're going to be the faster team. And Space Station has, for all the good that they've been doing here, has been giving up the ball downfield, just throwing it, either panic to get the clear or, you know, not out of boost and not able to hold on to it any further. So FaZe has just been eating the ball up in midfield and letting that play come to them. Right now they're feeling a lot of pressure, though, from Space Station, who have done a better job, I'd say, of holding the ball past midfield. But here comes FaZe now back the other way, trying to put something together. It'll be first killer into the corner, and he'll let it go. Reynolds to clear it downfield.
Was looking for that second extension, but Reynolds will have to keep this one back on target. But we've talked about resources before. FaZe have been very quick to get their corner boost, and that's only made the extensions downfield on those long touches even easier. Who's going to get this one? Maybe a team pinch. Arsenal takes the call, but quickly read back downfield. That should be saved by Reynolds. It will be. A couple of bumps on the sidewall, but not a lot of demos here in Game 3. It's been pretty physical in the start of this series, but it has slowed down quite a bit, and we'll keep that in the back of our heads. With 2:30 to go, it's still a 2-1 lead for FaZe.
And I think FaZe are happy to sit on this lead right now. I think Spacestation, though, starting to get the better of FaZe. They're putting up more shots. They're beating the defense, beating at least the first man a lot more. The challenges have not been going in favor of FaZe. That won't come out to AJ. Wanted to give it back to First Killer. And now Simpical will just punt it downfield. 2 minutes left on the clock. FaZe very, very patient on their approach. Waiting for Spacestation to make the mistake or to give the ball up. Here's Daniel. What can he do with it? Looking for some offensive prowess from him, but not able to follow up. As I think Arsenal was going for those bumps, but there was just no follow-up from Spacestation. As they'll boom the ball back to the FaZe side.
Now we're starting to meet that ping-pong match in the middle of this game. About $1:40 to go. That one's on target. AJ gets one of his first looks of the game. As late as it may come, you want it at any times now. As First Killer will get the corner boost, and he can try to get Reynolds out of position. That double tap sets up something nice, but no one's there to receive. And Reynolds will try to escape downfield, getting pushed off the play. Typical fills in the lane, creates some traffic. As this one hangs precariously around the net. Who's going to be there for FaZe to clear it out? SSG in a prime position, and it will be good enough. Arsenal gets the touch, and it looked like it was only a matter of time, Corelli.
This is a frustrating play to watch if you're a FaZe fan, because AJ's sitting in the net the whole time, but he's got no boost. There's nowhere for him to really go to chase after that ball. He would have had to flip to catch up to it, which would have been a tough situation, but maybe that was better than letting in the goal. Either way, a little miscommunication there, or misposition from FaZe with low boost, not able to get to that ball bouncing in front of their net. And we're tied up.
We had just talked about midfield pressure and all the things that SSG needed to do. Since then, they've been doing it quite well. They've gotten resources, they've kept FaZe out of their defensive end, they've stretched them off the back wall, and they've forced FaZe to play these low boost engagements where they just can't come away with the possession. These 50s are going to constantly go SSG's favor. As AJ at a dangerous look, and First Killer's going to be there, cut it down from the ceiling. Now what do you do if you're FaZe? Do you have enough in the tank with 43 seconds to go? It's anybody's game.
Simpical doing a good job to delay here after First Killer got demoed. He's actually beating a couple players as well. Bumping Reynolds. Reynolds still holding onto the ball, and he wins the challenge all the way down the field. Here comes Arsenal. Doesn't get the touch on net. It would have been amazing for Spacestation had they put that one away. Here comes AJ on the shot. Daniel makes a crucial save, but now Simpical dumps it off the first, puts it off the back wall, and is met by Reynolds with 15 seconds to go.
Such a heads-up read by Reynolds, too. I mean, Daniel's in position to at least get a 50, but it's downfield for SSG. Again, a game that comes down to the wire. This one could be a series decider. You go up 2-1 if you take it. Circling through for FaZe at midfield. To Reynolds in the corner.
AJ's there.
AJ's downfield.
He's there.
AJ's downfield.
Oh, no!
What? AJ was in a position to seal it for FaZe, and instead you go to OT.
And to be fair, it's a tough shot. When it's that low, you kind of pop, you have to get over it, or under it rather. And it went too high off the crossbar. That would have been a gift though. As First Killer trying to make amends. He's got 2 to go here from Spacestation. As we go into an overtime, Spacestation again making this life difficult for FaZe after they have a strong start.
First Killer's got to be careful. Daniel puts it off the backboard. Is anyone else there to read it for SSG? It does not look like that will be the case. Arsenal, the only one back, as Reynolds will fly back in position, and Daniel gets some boost on the recovery. But here's the transition up for SSG. It's going to start through Daniel. Arsenal at the bottom of your screen, getting a little bit physical. Daniel going to get over Simpical. That one's on target, saved away by First Killer yet again. We've burned about 40 and some seconds in this OT. A big bomb, and that one's on target. Arsenal can't finish the fight, and instead we'll get back to midfield.
And I love the physical gameplay from Spacestation. Here's a shot, from Simpical. I thought that one was going in, but the physical gameplay from Spacestation feels so strong right now. It's really giving FaZe a tough time. AJ, he's gonna do all of them. He got everyone to bite on that fake, and he puts it away for FaZe.
This setup from AJ just to himself, the fake around 1. And once Daniel moved up, you don't have enough to flip backwards. You've already lost position. It's like he got caught on the Euro step. And that's FaZe securing what they should have probably had at the end of regulation. They get it done in OT in very scary fashion, Corelli.
Wow. F-Bow, you like that fake or what?
Yo, I mean, I say all the time, those are my favorite plays in Rocket League. You guys can all handle the really cool pinches and the technical stuff. I want to see people embarrass other people. And that's what those fake plays are. I will say AJ gets his redemption. The Mobile One high performance replay is all AJ. Wow. I think one of the craziest things about playing high level Rocket League, I thank my lucky stars that I talk about it and not play it itself. Going from the Bardowski, just we can't make it to immediate, we have to go to kickoff. You don't get a second. Like when you miss the buzzer beater in basketball, you can relax. When the thing goes wrong in football, you can talk to your homie. No, you missed, get back, you're playing again. That has to be some mental real there. Real quick before we carry on, I want to bring some things up. Energy, locked and loaded, baby. They have secured their stuff. Xset did take them to a game 5, but they won, and Energy will wind up on the top side. G2 stays alive. They beat Ghost Gaming, and so that means they do get another chance. They are not knocked out. Torrent is knocked out, as I said, which means Rogue confirms that they will have one life this weekend on the bottom side of things. So a lot of things shaking out and solidifying as we come towards the end of the day. FaZe Clan one away from taking it, boys. I think they do it here.
That's a bold prediction there, F-Dot. You better stand by it.
I'm sitting.
I love that guy.
We love him. We love him and we hate him at the same time. But he might be right. He might be right. Space looking to hold.
Envy's out.
Oh, yes. Envy's gone. Out.
This just in. Envy is gone. Like, just as we said, a complexity beats them out, and Envy will not be playing this weekend.
Wow. That's crazy for Group D.
Reddit's going to be really fun. I can't wait.
Everything's going to be fun. The discourse around just this group stage alone. We haven't even gotten to the bracket. But the group stage alone is just going to be crazy. Unbelievable stuff.
Well, of all the ways that the winter split could have kicked off, I think this is a pretty good one. Of all the ways 2022 could have unfolded, so far it's doing quite nicely. Already on target. What a missile that was to the upper corner, but AJ just a little bit off target, a hair too high. We get into Coliseum here for Game 4. Again, if you're just joining us, it's a 2-1 series lead for FaZe. FaZe versus SSG, one that's gone down to the wire almost every single game, and one that leads potentially to an Arsenal opening, but a save from FaZe keeps this at 0-0.
That was crazy read there from Sypical. The speed of that play was tough to get around. You had to be at the right spot to make that save. Here's Daniel. Yes, I think, he's had... Defensively, he's been good, but I think quiet on offense here from what we've seen earlier from him. And obviously, the type of team that he's playing here is much different than the teams he was playing earlier. It's tough to play against a team like First Killer and with First Killer and AJ. They just get so many touches on the ball. And now with Sypical in the mix, defensively, tough to crack. Although I think Spacestation have done a pretty good job of it here in this series so far. It's Arsenal once one off the back wall, gets it cleanly. Reynolds puts it too high. Daniel goes as well. Now the break's on for AJ. Wide open is the net. Nobody able to come up with the touch there for Spacestation, and they pay for it.
Hey, finally got one. The one that eluded him comes back, and he gets a long-distance goal. Hey, listen, if it's an open net, AJ doesn't usually miss it. He doesn't there. It's a 1-0 lead, and here's the thing, Corelli. We've burned a lot of time in Game 4. We're already around 2 minutes, 40-some seconds, a bit of change still, but these games go by quickly. When your back's against the wall, you're down 2-1 for SSG. It's going to take a complete revamp, a 180 for the entire offense.
FaZe again threatening, as they've been for most of the game, or most of the series, excuse me, and definitely here in this game. Sypical gets it out to AJ. Daniel not relenting, but it's just right back to AJ. Wants the bump on Arsenal, gets it, and Reynolds will have to make the touch. Daniel only as far as Sypical, as Reynolds is finally able to clean it out, and a couple demos come out from Spacestation. Now the pass across is cut out from AJ, and I still want to see more of that physical play come out from Spacestation. I feel like that's really the secret sauce of this team right now, is it's opened up so much space for them in the midfield and in the final third.
I mean, AJ falls off that touch, gets the back right boost, takes away resources for Daniel. So Daniel's in no man's land. He has to basically either ball chase or challenge the immediate touch. Once he does that, Daniel's out of position. AJ rotates back to his third, gets a second touch downfield, and he's been on the move for the past minute. AJ taking away resources for SSG. He's taking away chances, and he's keeping Daniel out of the play, out of the offense. It's so crucial. Those small intangibles, those small moments. That's why FaZe are just on a better angle, but Daniel finally gets his way upfield and ties this one up.
Look at this pass from Arsenal, full boost to work with, as FaZe not able to even get out to challenge him early enough. I mean, AJ was there, but nowhere near challenging, and the placement from Daniel, impeccable to put that one away. Tied up for Spacestation here, as their offense prevails through the FaZe defense.
It's taken the rookie in his first real start in the RLCS to get this team back on the board. Can they use that momentum? Everybody slows down all of a sudden. We're going to hold our horses here as AJ might be the first one to escape through this traffic jam. Instead, Daniel flips it right back towards the corner, and first killer was ready and waiting. A lot of boost. Recovers nicely on this one, but a great touch from SSG just kills it towards the backboard. And now FaZe have to get this one away. More pressure towards the sidewall. First killer on a back pass, and Arsenal will cut it down. SSG looking for that extra touch, but it will not be there.
A lot of demo chasing coming out from Spacestation. And with the space that FaZe just naturally gives, plus them being bumped out or demoed out of the way, has certainly helped them. Here's Arsenal, can get up to it, try to play. Oh my goodness, he got there. And still, FaZe come up with it. 45 seconds remain, Spaceman. We're still tied up.
FaZe are beginning to threat now. As Reddles fighting a one-on-one, leads way to another pass. An extension now. That demo might help things. It's a power play here for SSG to pass down to Daniel. That one's good. Daniel rolls it in, but Reynolds gets the goal. The assist was good, but I don't even know how this one lands.
Reynolds is bowling first killer. First killer tried to go in and out to dodge the demo, and when he came out, he landed on Reynolds. So Reynolds with no boost is stuck on the goal line, and the ball lands on his hood and goes into the net.
Might be the most 7-Eleven goal I think I've ever seen. I don't even know what that means, but here we go. You're down one if you're FaZe to Champions Field. We could go on the pitch from Cynical, but it's saved. Reynolds gets back in time. SSG maintain the lead, 15 seconds.
Reynolds is doing work on both goal lines right now, that time saving his own net. 8 seconds remain, and FaZe hunting to tie this game up. First killer off the back wall. AJ's demoed, so it's up to Cynical as he goes all the way back. Now first killer to the back wall. No one's there from FaZe, and it'll drop down. Spacestation will force a game 5.
It's the only way it should be. The Earth is healing. We're going to Champions Field. Oh, F-Dot, how you doing?
I'm chilling, man. I told you Space Station will bring it to a game 5. Not surprised at all whatsoever. Jokes aside, real quick, something I want to bring up here is Space Station and Daniel. I want you guys to either, support this or knock it down. I no problem getting dunked on here. Daniel was brought to be an offensive powerhouse here, and he's doing well when perfectly set up by the rest of Space Station. If we don't see that perfect ball setup, I'm not seeing Daniel bring it home. I mean, are we just seeing like first game jitters, or is this kind of what to expect?
Well, I think the games that we saw before this were much different. Daniel was very much more involved in the offense.
Yeah.
Again, I think it's the type of team that he's playing now against FaZe, where you're not going to have as much space, and especially you're going to be challenged a lot quicker. You're right. I think you're absolutely right in the fact that, that pass from Arsenal, for example, from the sidewall across the box for Daniel to put away was just perfectly set up for Daniel. Anyone could have scored that one in the pro.
Bump set spike.
So I think it's him trying to get acclimated more to a game like FaZe, or a team like FaZe.
Well, as we said, we're going to game 5. This one for all the marbles. Champions Field, brought to you by X Games Aspen, Space Station Gaming, and FaZe Clan. 2 new players. I think I gave you the big gravity setup. Man, I'm excited. Let's go.
I can't wait for it. Corelli, it's game 5. This is the only way this series should have ended.
Exactly.
We're underway.
You're absolutely right. Game 5 is, I think, what I would expect. As that one, oh my, almost gets pinched in. We'll go too high. And I mean, both sides have played extremely well. Like, this is not like a series where, a team has performed poorly. I think it's, different play styles. But for the most part, I feel like FaZe, they've had a lot of great games here in this series. Space Station, obviously, game 1 was a massive game for them. And the previous game was another quality game where they just kind of grind out FaZe. They can slow down FaZe in that physical play. There's another demo from Arsenal I think has really helped them a lot.
Yeah.
And not let FaZe have that passing gameplay that we've seen a little bit come out here against Spacestation.
The physicality starting to return in the latter half of this series, but I'm really waiting to see who's going to make that first mistake. How will this one change? Where's the swing, and how does that pendulum move across the field? Typical. Going to cut it down for FaZe, and we've seen that initial start was typical, trying to find AJ, then up the wing, you move 1-2 in tandem downfield. As a couple of bumps from AJ will take out Daniel as he sits on the goal line, but Typical just there for a demo. The pass to AJ,
Whoa.
And he just dots that one for the opening goal.
And those are the passing plays that we're talking about coming out from FaZe. And Typical didn't even try to get the ball. Didn't think he was going to get to that ball. He just going for the player. And that opened up the space for people behind to get that ball played across, and an easy tap for FaZe to go through. And great work again, finding each other, playing that lateral ball 45 degrees out to the box from the back line. Those are the passes that are most dangerous, and it's paid off for FaZe once again.
With FaZe finding the opening goal, you can almost feel the attention starting to swing back over to SSG, where they're looking at someone like Reynolds or even Daniel, right? The opening weekend for him. Maybe this is where he steps up and brings SSG back into it. He did it in game number 4. Can they do it again? About 3 minutes to go here. And it could be the final match between both these teams early on in the opening weekend. But so far, nothing.
AJ is just so scary, and he's so fun to watch when he picks up the ball like that in midair with the flip. Now a monster clear, Typical. Opportunity for a second touch. He's got to get back down. Does get it, but it went too wide. And First Killer can't follow up. Good contest there from Spacestation to not allow the second shot. And that's not the best touch, though, from Reynolds, as Arsenal is called upon to make the save.
I mean, these staggered hits. Oh, First Killer got it over. First Killer got it over. Gets it over
my.
Daniel. First Killer just put SSG on a milk carton.
And he's just putting them up and putting them down. Arsenal doesn't get the touch. Daniel doesn't go quick enough. And then he made him think about it. And Daniel doesn't know if First Killer is going to go back post or above him. And First Killer beats him high. 2-0 now for FaZe.
Incredible
so
performance then. The 2 goals straight up. We're halfway through. I wanna give us a real quick update about Group D. That's the one that Envy is out. Complexity and Susquehanna have secured their bottom bracket, and Oxygen Esports is number 1 out of Group D, going to the top bracket.
Good for them, honestly. Good for Oxygen, because I feel like a lot of people might have written them off with the roster change, but what a way to get back into it. And speaking of getting back into it, Reynolds gets one back for Space Station here as they cut the lead in half.
I love every time F-Dot comes in, SSG just scores.
I know. He did pick them, so maybe he should just keep talking. They'll just keep scoring.
It's a lot of time
left. FaZe, I gotta go. Bye.
There's a bit of time left, but FaZe, who had the early lead, reminiscent of Game 1 Corelli, where they got off to a hot start. Slowly but surely, SSG drag it back.
Yeah, the shot's certainly in FaZe's favor. That is now the 11th shot. Make it 12. That's a dangerous one coming down from AJ, excuse me. As you know, Space Station have only put up 2 shots. This one might count as a third. As AJ will take it to his own corner. Reynolds trying to fight for it. Arsenal still can't get by Typical, who is finally dispossessed by Daniel. AJ, he can't get back up to it. Reynolds back and forth. Still no one wanting to hold the ball now. First Killer wants to take it himself. Plays it to Space. Is met by Arsenal, and still nobody getting the upper hand here as a minute and 20 seconds upon us. FaZe holding on to their 1-goal lead.
That staggered offense from FaZe has worked up until this point, but can they clamp down? Can SSG break it open? Reynolds circling back in. We'll have a full tank of boost, try to kick this one to the ceiling, but FaZe is right there. And Arsenal will do the same thing. So under 60 seconds now. You're leaving it up to SSG, who have possession. Arsenal spiraling his way towards the net, but Typical and AJ combining for the save will get it right back out to midfield. You're looking for another awkward possession here for SSG. Arsenal on target, saved away again.
45 seconds left. That's a decent pass. Reynolds almost able to get to it. A little too out in front of him. The demo comes out from Reynolds. Typical will have to wait. But the ball comes down to AJ, and I don't know if it was a fake or a whiff from First Killer, but it still came down to AJ and FaZe, able to extend this lead with 36 seconds left.
I don't know if First Killer just went for the fake or just left off. Either way, it was the right decision, and AJ puts the second goal lead ahead as FaZe now up 3-1, 30 to go, and some odd change. But you're looking at this, you need a kickoff win and a big drive downfield with such little time to do it. Typical. Already getting physical in the back end. Reynolds really nowhere to go, trying to find a teammate if he can. It's Arsenal and Daniel instead.
Daniel?
But Daniel puts it on target, and FaZe are there to read it. First killer gets it right back out. And the longer you push this one downfield, the more that it just kills time, Corelli.
Typical dumped it out to the midfield. Nobody there from either team. They met it on the bounce. First killer puts that one wide, but it's really just a victory lap for FaZe at this point. 5 seconds remain, and Space Station ran out of gas in the end. It was a valiant fight, but FaZe Clan with Typical will take down his former team.
FaZe Clan, dominant on offense, composed on defense, and Typical gets the better of his former roster.